Hello and welcome back to Teach Me in 10. In this episode, we're joined by Dr. Lisa Fitzpatrick, IVD Segment Marketing Manager for Western Europe at Merck. Lisa brings over 20 years of experience in sales, sales development, and marketing, with a background in analytical applied chemistry and extensive expertise in regulated markets. Today, Lisa will take us through the complete life cycle of IVD production, from concept to cartridge, exploring how Merck supports the full journey of IVD assay development with high-quality production-grade materials. Let's get into it. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to hear how Merck supports manufacturers during the production process and beyond.
Hi, thanks very much for having me today. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
So, to begin, what exactly are production materials?
Well, a production material, certainly from an IVD perspective for assay development, are defined as essential components used in creation and validation of a diagnostic test. Now, precisely what they are really does depend on what you're doing. If you're producing immunoassays, so a clear or an ELISA, that's going to be a different set of materials than if you're producing molecular diagnostics, so for example, a PCR. And as Merck, we offer a wide range of these critical and non-critical raw materials for the IVD assay development part, but ultimately you want to be putting it out into production. It needs to get out to the marketplace. So this is things like antibodies, lateral flow membranes, some of the more general stuff like solvents and buffers and detergents. You might want something very specific for your assay detection, like an estable microsphere or some colloidal gold. Or if you're doing a PCR, you might want something that's a much more surer reagent. So, our ultra pure DNA-free reagent, or maybe you want to do some magnetic separations for DNA and RNA. We can provide all those materials.
Nice. And can you speak a bit about why someone would choose Merck's production materials over others?
Absolutely. Production materials, they tend to be bought in relatively high volumes. So they're also known as like bulk or semi-bulk materials. So it's really important to understand which materials have got adequate supply chain information, because you're going to have that to support the constant large volume ordering that's needed for the manufacturing purposes. Nobody wants to work hard in R&D, only to find out they come to scale up and the products you're using, which work brilliantly, you can't get them in the quantity you need. You might not get them in the quality that you need for that matter. So using those materials that are designated production materials, production grade, further manufacturing use, sometimes called FFMU, makes the transition from R&D to full-scale production far smoother. It reduces the risk of supply chain disruptions. It helps with regulatory compliance.
Fantastic. Can you walk us through how Merck supports things like strategic partnerships, planning and scheduling, and distribution?
Absolutely. Merck is really well known as a chemical supplier. But what a lot of people don't appreciate sometimes, there's a lot that goes on kind of behind the scenes, if you like, to make sure that that is successful. Different product applications require tailored approaches to managing that supply chain. The ideal combination of strategic partnership and supply assurance is best achieved through ongoing proactive communication. Come and talk to us. We as a purchaser, if you like, we prioritize risk management to make sure that the products that we put out in the market and things that are crucial for developing critical items for scientific research, that they're continuously supplied. Our procurement team minimizes risks within our supply chain by talking with our suppliers. So we have stocking agreements with them. We've set up dual sourcing, for example. We manage the lead times. We maintain extra stock for high-risk items. We can do pre-qualifying supplier batches, assess supplier capabilities for their risk management. That's what we do with our suppliers. So it works really, really well. So we encourage our customers to do the same, to have those discussions around supply of critical and non-critical raw materials at a really early stage. Determine which factors are key for your manufacturing, because the process you're doing the best, we don't. But that's just going to ensure that critical supply continuity. Distribution is also fundamental. It ensures we meet your service needs to deliver those products quickly, safely, accurately, and compliantly. When you give us that information about your product health pipeline, what its intended use is, where you need it, when you need it, how much you need there, any delivery requirements, we can get you that just in time delivery. We can do that regulatory compliance shipments for you.
Amazing work. It sounds like Merck really is forward thinking about their customer needs. So, when it comes to quality considerations, what should we really be paying attention to?
That's an excellent question. And it's something that a lot of people kind of trip over a little bit with. So, I've spoken on previous Teach Me in 10 about our Clarity program, and that supports the regulatory compliance and supply chain transparency. It takes all our products in life science and it categorizes them by the information that we know. So it puts them into specific quality segments based on the quality attributes, the information we know. It's not just based on specification, like you may think, but it's really how much paperwork do we have? And that just helps us to ensure that whatever regulatory standard you're working to, we can supply you with a product that's suitable. So we also have a change notification service embedded in that. And that informs our users about changes in product specification, manufacturing processes, and it just helps with that really key thing in risk management, helps you to maintain compliance with regulatory compliance. Auditors love things like that. Suppliers and manufacturers don't like auditors coming. It's a necessary evil, shall we say. But if you can give them that information and we can supply that comprehensive documentation for the products, simple things like a certificate of analysis, there might be something a little bit more complicated. And it just helps to make sure that you are being transparent with your auditors. And something like that in a highly regulated industry, such as IVD manufacturing, it just enhances supplier quality support. It gives you products that meet the stringent standards that you need. It means that when you put your product out, you can be confident of that consistency.
Nice. Now, to wrap up, with market demands on the rise, what's Merck doing to meet those needs?
Yes, really, again, a really great question. You've got your star product, absolutely fantastic market potential. You've chosen all your production materials with care. You're confident you can scale up. And then you end up saying, well, oh, we can produce 100 in a week. And the market's going, great, I need 500 in a week. And you're like, ah, right, we're a bit stuck there. But there's a couple of options there. I mean, from your point of view, you could expand your manufacturing site if you've got the land, if you've got the capital to do that, if you've got the time. So it's going to take time to build that facility. It's going to take time to commission and validate all your processes in that new facility. By the time you've managed that, the opportunity might pass you by. The other alternative is you can look for a manufacturing partner instead. In addition to products, Merck offers extensive capabilities around the OEM, original equipment manufacturing processes. We can provide custom contract manufacturing services, things like antibodies, reagents, and kits. But it also means that they're regulatory compliant as well. We can customize things for you. So it may be that you just want a few extra tests on some things for your particular process. We can do that. We can customize things like catalog antibodies, testable microspheres, but we've also got packaging services too. So you might have your kit, but you think, yeah, we can produce all the reagents and all the things necessary. Can't actually get it in box. How do we do that? Well, we can do the packaging services. We've got sterile filtration. We're really, really competent in handling hazardous materials. We can do automated checks in controlled environments. So essentially that means if you come to Merck and pick our production materials, you're not just picking a critical raw material. You also have the option there of having a collaborative and strategic partner for all your manufacturing process needs.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. That was a great overview of Merck services, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Lisa, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Teach Me in 10, which was brought to you by Merck. While Merck is a provider of high quality production scale materials, their services go beyond supply, offering strategic partnerships, OEM services, and custom manufacturing solutions. To learn more about Merck's production materials for IVD, request scale up products, contact their experts, or explore their M Clarity program for quality and portfolio transparency, check out the links in the description. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe to catch all our latest releases.